Welcome to One Girl in All the World, a Buffy the Vampire Slayer rewatch podcast where we recap each episode in order and discuss. I'm Ashley, Buffy superfan.
Kimmy, Buffy newbie.
You can find us on all major podcast apps, YouTube, and Instagram with new episodes on Tuesdays. So today we are talking about, yes, I have a new Buffy fit check, and I'll tell you how it came about. Because I wasn't really planning to buy any more Buffy clothes. But you know when you go on a website and you're browsing and then you click out of it, you don't go back, and then they keep track of what you've looked at.
Yeah,
and when it goes on sale, they'll send you an email and be like, "Oh, what you were looking at is now on sale." So Hot Topic got me. They have one Buffy thing and it's a Buffy t-shirt. And I was looking at it, but I didn't want to pay the full price, whatever. And a couple days ago, they emailed me and said, "This item you were looking at is 40% off." And I was like, "Oh,
that's pretty good.
Got me."
Oh, that's actually really cute. I like that.
So it's called the Buffy moon phase tee. So it's black. It has the moon phases on top, and it says Vampire Slayer, and it has a season 2 picture of Buffy. Season 2 hair.
So I was just going to say her hair's shorter in season 2. Okay, good.
For those that are just listening and not watching. Yeah. It has a bunch of little stars and a steak. Yeah. So.
Looks cute. I like it.
I was like, I'm going to get a large so I can wear it oversized.
Hot Topics larges.
Yeah. I was like, okay, this is roomy, but it's not oversized by any stretch of the imagination. So I was like, okay. I was like, I can wear it with bike shorts, whatever. Have it really oversized. Yeah, no. I mean, it's it's definitely has room.
That's hilarious. That's a large. Okay.
I'm cool. Glad thing I didn't order a smaller size. I was trying to go for way oversized. Anyway. So this is the newest addition to the collection. Thanks, Hot Topic. Okay, so today we're talking about episode 7 of the first season called Angel.
Yeah.
I know you're already excited, I can tell.
So excited.
First impressions obviously are good.
Best episode ever so far.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, we'll dive into what we actually liked when we get into the episode, so we will start that now. Angel aired April 14th, 1997, written by David Greenwalt, which we have heard of. He's back again as the writer, and directed by Scott Brazil. The synopsis is, while Buffy grows more and more annoyed with Angel's mysterious disappearing act, she can't deny her growing obsession with him. That's a bit strong. I don't think she's obsessed with him. Meanwhile, it's killing Xander that Buffy doesn't have a clue how he feels about her, and as he vents his frustrations to Willow, she knows all too well how he feels. And in the underworld, the Master is incensed that Buffy has taken the lives of so many members of his family, and he summons warrior vampires to annihilate her. Okay. Yeah, I don't think Buffy's obsessed with Angel.
No, I wouldn't say that actually at all, especially since she hasn't talked about it in the past. Did she even really talk about it much in the past couple episodes? I mean, a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Believe me, we will see obsession in this show, and Buffy at this point with Angel is not it.
I was just I was gonna say as someone who used to be a teenage girl and had obsessions with boys, I know what obsession is. And
yeah, she's definitely not there. Whether she ever
pretty
will
nonchalant.
Be. Yeah, she's it's just not gonna. She's not romanticizing him really, especially in the beginning. She's would never he's never around, and with all the cons of even contemplating something with him. So
super realistic, actually.
I really don't see how she's obsessed. Anyway, so I have a bone to pick with the person that wrote that synopsis, but we can, I guess, comment on that as we go along. So we have our first, at least from watching on Hulu, our first previously on. So kind of because Angel hasn't been around a little bit.
That was nice. I like that because my partner's watching with me last night, and I was like, "Do you want to watch this with me? I know you haven't seen the first however many episodes, but yeah." So it was nice for him to just get that recap.
Yeah, we kind of find out who Angel is again, just to refresh the memory, and the Anointed One, that he's around, and then we have the Slayer opening is back again.
Yeah, that was funny.
I was like, oh, okay, we're still getting this. It's funny because I read somewhere online that this was actually the first episode that it appeared. That's obviously not the case with over the years. Maybe when it aired, I don't know. Obviously, it's been so many years. It's been edited different ways for different formats, and streaming is a whole thing that didn't even exist when the show was playing. So as the streaming versions, we have seen it every episode except for one. So maybe when it was airing, this is the first time that is in there. So we're just going based off the streaming versions that we're watching.
Okay.
Because I do own it all, not on DVD anymore, but I own it all on iTunes, so I should go back and see if they also did it the same or if this is a different kind of edit that they have for streaming. Anyway,
Okay, yeah.
that could vary depending on the version you are watching, like DVD, streaming, iTunes. Anyway, we get that Slayer opening again. Like, we need to be reminded that Buffy's a Slayer. Anyway, we start off the actual episode in the lair, and the Master is kind of like not skipping rocks with Colin, the Anointed One. He's just kind of throwing rocks. He's taking a rock out of the Master's hand and like throwing it in a puddle, basically. I guess kids easily amused, even evil ones, I guess. And they're just like hanging out, throwing rocks in a puddle. And Darla comes in, and the Master is mad that Zachary, one of the other vampires, we don't really need to know, we're not supposed to know anything more about him. It's not that important. But that Buffy had killed him the night before. He hadn't returned.
Annoyed.
Yeah, so he's annoyed that basically they're just, she's just picking them off one by one.
Yeah.
And he's kind of asking, Colin, what would you do? Like, I love, like, the way they talk to each other. It's just...
It's weird.
It's weird. Yeah, in a good way. Like, it's just, like... I don't know. Like, he's not a child anymore.
Centuries-old Master asking this kid, I know he's anointed, but, like, asking him for advice.
And, like, and then the way he responds is so adult and, like, old.
Yeah.
Because he's not a kid anymore, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But he says, like, oh, what would you do? And he's like, I would annihilate her.
Mm-hmm.
So he's very... cutthroat, Colin, because we haven't really gotten anything out of him much.
Yeah.
He's kind of just been hanging out. So now we're getting more of his input on things, and we're going to get to know him a little bit. So the Master has had it with Buffy, and he's going to send the 3 to kill her. And then we see 3 scary looking, like, uber vamps with, like, definitely warrior. They use
Some
that
sort
term.
Of, gear.
Yeah, they have, like, they have definitely, like, warrior, like, they have, like, like, armor kind of stuff. Yeah, it's hard to explain. But yeah, you can definitely tell that they look different than the average vampire walking around the cemetery. At the Bronze, there is the fumigation party is happening, and the sign says, find a cockroach, get a free drink.
So gross.
And you see a woman, like, grab a cockroach and, like, give it to the bartender, who was wearing... Did you notice the shirt the bartender was wearing?
No, I missed it.
Like, shimmery silver. It was like, I was like, what? I know this is 1997, not like 87 or 77. I was like, what is he wearing? It was crazy.
That's funny. Okay.
Yeah, it was distracting to me even. But people are catching cockroaches and getting drinks, and I just have in my notes, health codes, exclamation point, exclamation point.
It's so gross.
Like, this should not be open if there's cockroaches. They sell food there. I mean, like, there's food prep going on. I mean, obviously, that's, like, horrendous. Buffy and Willow are sitting at the table. Xander's out dancing.
Mm-hmm.
And...
She's, like, kind of despondent. Like, she's just kind of...
Yeah. Down in the dumps a little bit, distracted, because Willow's talking to her, and she's obviously, like, not really present.
Yeah.
And it's interesting, because she says, like, oh, is it about a guy? She's like, no, there'd have to be a guy for us to have a conversation about a guy. And then, well, she's like, what about Angel? And she's like, yeah, I mean, obviously he's hot, and there is an attraction there. She says the lights dim when it's the lights dim when he's around. Mm-hmm. But he said, like, she says, like, what would it be like? Hi, honey, you're in danger. See you next month.
Yeah, like he's just not around much.
He's a sporadic presence in her life. When she says about the lights dimming when she's with him, she asks Willow, you know how it's like with some guys? And she's like, oh, yeah. And then she looks over to the dance floor, and doofus Xander is dancing.
Like an idiot.
Oh, God. I don't know what Willow sees in him, honestly. Like, maybe
he sucks.
The most familiar. She's the most comfortable. It's the closest guy that she knows that she's the most comfortable with. So I feel like maybe it's natural that she would start having feelings for him.
I guess that makes sense.
Because she just has such social difficulties.
Yeah.
And she's actually comfortable around Xander. Because they really don't have anything in common.
No, actually they don't.
Besides just growing up together.
And being in the same grade.
Yeah.
Like,
they don't seem like they would have even the same interests or anything.
No.
He knocks into Cordy, who's dancing. And I actually think Xander was like the jerk in this situation.
He was so mean.
She wasn't like super nice, but he was like, he knocked into her, and they kind of like squabbled a bit. But then what he ended on was like not cool about saying that, I don't know what people are talking about, the outfit doesn't make you look like a hooker.
Yeah, that was pretty harsh.
Like, she wasn't like that. She wasn't that bad at all. She's like, oh, I saw you almost got beat up and all this. Like, she's like, get off my $200 shoes. Xander was like the jerk in the situation for once. Like not Cordelia being the worst person in the room.
That was a really crappy thing to say.
Xander comes over to the table and Buffy, he's like, oh yeah, stop. Like, what does he say? Like, stop this whirligig of fun. I'm getting dizzy. The energy is low at the table because Buffy's kind of down in the dumps. And Buffy notices that her mood is rubbing off on people. So she's like, I'm just going to leave. Xander doesn't want her to. He wants to dance. But she's like, no, I'll just see you guys tomorrow. I'm just going to call it a night. Buffy's walking out of the bronze and she feels like somebody's watching her. And we do see Angel is watching her, but when she turns, he's gone. So he's hanging around, looking at her.
Yeah, not creepy at all.
Very not creepy. Buffy's walking home, so we're out in the street now, and she again knows someone's following her, and she just says, "Hey, like I'm tired. Like just show yourself, like so we can get this over with." Yep. But then she's like, "Oh, there's 3 like very big, scary, strong vampires, and they are kind of overwhelming her immediately."
Yeah,
3 against 1.
She gets a good, few kicks and punches in, but yeah, they're strong.
Yeah, she's outnumbered, and they're super strong, like you said. Yeah. And then they're about, 2 of them are holding her, the other one's gonna bite her, and Angel jumps in. He basically just tackles them. They both kind of get their butts kicked, honestly. Yeah. One of the 3 grabs a bar off of a window, like a window covering, those bars, slices Angel across the ribs.
And I love how, Buffy says, watch out, and I feel like she gave him ample time to actually watch out, and yet, in much like horror movie style, he didn't watch out.
Yeah. And Giles says something about this situation. He says, Angel faced the 3. Faced the 3. He tackled somebody, got his ribs stabbed, smashed, and then ran.
Yeah.
I don't know how, him, getting in a scuffle with the 3 makes him so formidable that Buffy has to be careful. He didn't face the 3. He has, he took the 3 on by himself.
The 3.
And won.
Yeah.
They ran away. Okay. I was like, okay, Giles, I think you're giving him a little too much credit in that fight.
Yeah.
But they take off, they run, and they head to Buffy's house. And this part bothers me. So Buffy says, come on, get in, come on, right before Angel and her run into the house, her front door. And she tries to slam the door, and one of the 3 gets his arm, his forearm and his hand in the door.
And she can't shut it.
Yeah, she hits it, and he kind of pulls his hand back, and then she can lock the door. Yeah. And Angel says, don't worry, a vampire can't come in without an invitation. She obviously invited Angel in. The 3, the one of the 3, 1/3 of the 3, shouldn't have been able to get his hand in the door.
Yeah,
that's a complete mistake.
Should have been he should have just been able to stop at the doorway.
Yeah, because we see vampires trying to get into places, and it's a very specific reaction. It's literally like you're walking into a invisible door.
Like a wall. Yeah.
Yeah, like a wall. You just bounce back. If you just walked in, when people walk into a screen door, they think they're going straight. They just boom. That is or when people walk through glass, they think it's open or whatever. That's exactly what it's like. You just bounce right off of something. It's like a force field, an invisible force field. Okay. Episode 7, we'll just pretend that didn't happen. Because he definitely should not have been able to get his hand into the door, into the house. They go into the kitchen so Buffy can help Angel with his wound. And of course, he takes his shirt off.
Woo-hoo.
Yeah. And she sees that he has a tattoo on his back.
Okay, so what is this tattoo exactly?
Apparently it's a winged lion. So a lion with the wings. And then at the bottom, it goes into an A for Angel. I'm jealous.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it wasn't a cross.
No. That was a good guess, though.
I was way off.
I mean, that's super specific. Knowing Angel's backstory, I don't know if I would have went with a cross, but if I didn't know his backstory, that would have been a good guess.
She wants to know how he came along, and he lets her know that he lives nearby, which I found interesting. We kind of just learned that.
Yeah, and he said he was out walking, and he just happened to come across her.
Easy to stalk her when he lives nearby.
Yeah. And he just said, they're kind of starting to flirt. Their kind of faces are getting kind of close. And then Buffy hears the front door open. So she runs to the front door, grabs her mom. Her mom's coming home from work. She grabs her mom in and looks outside and says, oh, you shouldn't be out there. There's crazy people out there. Why don't you go right up to bed? Because I'm sure you're so tired. And her mom's not stupid. She's like, what did you do? You're being too nice. You're going to bring me tea in bed, please. What did you do? I don't know why Angel walks in there like a big dummy.
I think because he doesn't want her to lie to his mom or to her mom. I think he...
But she does. What is she going to say? The truth?
No, no, but okay, so I could be wrong, but I kind of feel like he's still nervous to be around her, and this is almost like an excuse for him to like not
Insert
be with her.
himself in her life. Be
Yeah.
like, oh, I have to meet the mom. Okay. I can
don't
buy
know.
that. I can buy that.
Yeah.
I can buy that. Angel just shows up there and she's like, hi, older man with my 16-year-old daughter at the house at my house at night alone. And Buffy gives the excuse that Angel is a student, first year community college.
I love how she
study.
like pauses. He's a student, and her mom's like, right. And then she's like, community college.
Yeah. So apparently Angel's helping her study.
Yeah.
And Joyce is like, you know what? It's time for bed. So why don't you say goodnight? And nice to meet you. She's wary, as you would be. Definitely as you would be. Yeah. So Buffy pretends to say goodnight to Angel and closes the door, and they both sneak up to her room because she says that the three could still be out there lurking and it's not safe for Angel to go out that night, to go out walking by himself. They get up to Buffy's room and they do the whole one bed, two people trope or whatever.
He won't take it. She won't take it.
Yeah.
I mean, as if he can't just be, okay, I guess they're teenagers. I want to say adult. Like, as if he can't be adults and just like, I don't know, you can make it work without things happening.
Right. Just because you sleep literally on the same bed doesn't mean something's happened.
Yeah.
But yeah. She's 16.
Yeah, okay. 16, that's right. She just seems older.
Well, yeah. I mean,
her life.
She is and she isn't, right?
Yeah.
I think for her it would be like, wow, oh my God, we're sleeping in the same bed, even if it was like completely chaste. Angel is gonna sleep on the floor, and she Buffy tells Angel to look out the window and see if they're out there, and she's gonna change in her pajamas.
She calls them the Fang Gang now.
The Fang Gang,
see if the Fang Gang are still loitering.
Yeah. And she asks him while she's changing, like, why are you doing this? Like, this is my, like, sacred duty. I don't really have a choice to fight them. Why are you doing it? Did vampires kill your family? And he says, yeah, but it was a long time ago. So she's like, okay, it's basically like, this is his, like a vengeance gig is what she said. And, this won't be the first time we see something like that where someone is fighting vampires because they killed their family. Yeah. That's, like, their purpose in life now, is to kill vampires because... Yeah. Their family was killed by vampires. That's a story you can buy for sure.
Yeah, that's a little snippet. I want to draw a parallel though. So while she's changing and she asked him to keep his back turned, I wanted to point out that he actually did, unlike some other boys in the show.
Thank you.
He was a huge gentleman about it. No peeking, no,
It actually happens one more time, so we could draw like a third parallel in season 5.
Okay.
Yes, season 5. I'm going to double check myself. Where someone's asked to be turned around while she changes. And they stay turned around, but very excited that Buffy's naked behind them. But they do not turn around. They behave themselves.
Okay. See, I mean, it's not hard. So this just shows Angel's maturity. Mm-hmm. Obviously he's older and lived.
Of course. All that is, and all that, obviously, all those circumstances. But the point is, she asked both guys to turn around because she didn't want to be seen changing. Yep. That's the point. You know what I mean? She didn't want to have them to see her change. So good parallel. I didn't even think about that. Because that was a very gross Xander moment.
Yeah, it was.
So they get ready for bed. Oh, but before that, I thought it was really sweet when he says, you even look pretty when you go to sleep. Aww. Like in her pajamas and stuff, which I thought that was cute. I thought it was cute that he used the word pretty instead of beautiful or gorgeous. It was just more sweet.
Yes.
Yeah, so I thought that was a really
genuine.
Cute line. Yeah, I thought that was a cute line. So they lay down and she asks Angel if he snores. And he says, I don't know. It's been a long time since anyone's been in the position to tell me if I snore. Yeah. So she's like, ooh.
I thought that was, a nice touch too.
So the next morning we're in the library and immediately Xander is upset.
Oh my God.
That he says, he slept in your bed? And she's like, no, he slept by my bed. And Willow has turned in such a hopeless romantic in this.
Yeah, she has.
All for this.
So romantic.
She's been reading those romance novels. You can tell. She's like, she's living vicariously through Buffy's romance because she's like, hers is not happening.
No.
So she just thinks it's so cute. Willow's gushing over it. And, she's like, he was a perfect gentleman. They're both like, oh my God, Angel. Oh.
And then Xander's like, oh, come on. That's like the oldest trick in the book.
Wake up and smell the seduction.
Jealous.
I love that line. Wake up and smell the seduction. She's like, what? Like getting attacked, getting stabbed or something? Whatever. Saving my life, getting stabbed. He's like, yeah.
And I think he talks about like the ick factor. And I can't remember if that was referring to like the age or something.
It was when Xander said, oh, I've done crazy things to impress a girl. One time I drank an entire bottle of Gatorade without taking a breath. And then Willow says, yeah, that was impressive, but later there was an egg factor because obviously.
Oh, that's what it was. Okay,
yeah,
right.
He puked it up.
Okay, that was funny.
Thankfully, Giles interrupts this conversation, saying that he's found the 3. He's like, are these them? He shows her picture. She's like, yeah. And he's like, he identifies them as the 3 warrior vampires. And Willow says, how do you know all that? How do you always know what's going on? Like, I never know what's going on. He's like, you weren't here from 6 or midnight to 6 a.m. researching it. And my question is, how?
No.
Buffy went to bed and she didn't contact Giles. So I'm assuming she got up this morning, went in this morning. She wasn't there at midnight. So how could he have known that she was attacked?
You're really good at this. Oh,
but we saw Buffy go to sleep.
Oh, yeah, we did. You're right.
And then she's at school.
Mm-hmm.
So she didn't like sneak out of the house at midnight. I mean, the reason she wouldn't have left the house again because we thought it was too dangerous for them to be outside.
Yeah, and there are no cell phones for texting.
I don't see her calling. She didn't call Giles.
No.
She could have said, I need to make a phone call. He could have said that one little thing and that would have,
Good catch.
Well done. Yeah, but somehow Giles knew at midnight that all this happened and he was there till 6 a.m. researching it.
Okay, I guess they have this like strong brain connection.
Yeah, she sent him a mental note.
Melding.
Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, I was like, how? How did he find out about it by at midnight?
That's funny. Okay.
Anyway, yeah.
But he wants her to step up her training.
Yeah, because now that there's like warrior vampires coming after her.
Yeah. Oh, and I love how Xander's like, you should stay with me.
Oh God.
Like, I'll protect you. Oh.
Yeah.
That was such an eye roll moment. I was like, oh my God. Okay.
He's like, yeah, you should stay with me. And Willow can tell Angel to get out of town. And Buffy and Willow just look at each other and like, okay. All right, dude.
I like how Giles kind of jumps in there to his credit. He's like, she's in no immediate danger right now. Because those 3 are going to have to offer their lives for not killing her.
Yeah, they failed. And so we go actually see that. We go to the lair and the 3 are like kneeled down saying basically that they've surrendered their lives to the Master because they failed to kill Buffy. The Master is kind of giving a lesson to Colin about he's like, I could kill them. It wouldn't give me much joy. Like, it's serious to take another vampire's life. Like, we don't care about human lives, but like another like vampire life for a vampire to take a vampire's life is a serious thing. But he has Darla kill the 3. He's like, just because some joy is fine, like a little joy, but that's better than no joy. So he still has the 3 killed, and he's kind of like teaching Colin. This is a kind of a teachable moment for Colin. I got the feeling.
Yeah,
I loved this scene. So we're in the library for another training scene. This is great. Buffy's looking in the cage. There's all he puts like a sign outside says closed for filing. The library is closed for filing. So they open the cage and there's all these different weapons. And Buffy's immediately drawn to the crossbow. She was like, ooh, flying fatality. Like, goodbye stakes.
Goodbye stakes.
Yeah, I loved that.
Hello, flying fatality.
Yeah, she's excited about this. He's like, no, we're going to start with the quarterstaff. And like, once you like show a lot of promise with this, we'll talk about the crossbow. And Buffy's like, I'm not going to be fighting Friar Tuck, which is like from Robin Hood.
Yeah.
It's a Robin Hood reference. And he's like, you don't know who or what you'll be fighting. Yeah. And he's right, because she's already, several times over the show, we've already seen it once, she fights with a pull cue, which isn't that far off of from a quarterstaff. Like, it's
I feel like she's very resourceful with her staking.
Yeah, I don't think that it's that crazy. The quarterstaff thing is that crazy, because we've already seen her in 7 episodes. We've already seen her use something that's similar once. So I don't think it's that crazy that she would have to train with it. So he tells her to put her pads on because they're gonna joust, or not joust. They're gonna fight. But he says, I'm not gonna need pads. And he's like, fine, suit yourself. Oh God. And she just wallops him. She hits him several times, and he goes to the ground, sweeps the feet out from underneath him. And he says, okay, we can go to the crossbow. So it's after school, it's already night, Buffy's coming upstairs from after dinner, and she brings Angel still in her room. And I would have been like, why are you still here? Surely my mom went to work. And the 3 are out there all day. Mm-hmm. She doesn't even ask like, oh, I didn't expect to find you here. I wish she would have said, oh, I didn't expect to see you here. I didn't expect you to still be here.
I mean, she brought him food up, so.
Yeah. She definitely thought he would be there. I would have liked if she said, oh, surprised you're here or something. I thought I brought this up just in case or something like that. Because, yeah, why wouldn't he leave? But she brings him up food in a plastic bag. It says it's plateless. Sorry. Was it just so she could easily hide it from her mom?
I think so, but that's weird. Yeah.
And he just kind of like looks at it and holds it.
I don't think he can eat it.
Yeah. Oh, she said, God, this is my favorite scene. This whole like second bedroom scene. He says,
Diary.
Yeah. Can't even talk about it. She says, what did you do all day? He says, I read a little, and she looks over to the bed and her diary's out. And like mortification times 1,000.
Oh, yeah.
She thinks he's read her diary, and she's so upset and embarrassed and starts babbling that hunk could mean a lot of things. Bad things, which is also my favorite line. And A doesn't even stand for A.
It could be, what did she say? What was the name she used?
It stands for Achmed, a charming foreign exchange student. That whole fantasy had nothing about you to do. Nothing about you at all. And he's like, I didn't read it. Your mom moved it when she came in to clean. I was hiding. She's like, oops. So let all that out of the bag.
Yep. Now he knows her real feelings.
That scene was just hilarious. She was mortified. I loved it so much.
Yeah. I didn't even get it. Like if somebody read your diary, like that actually happened to me when I was in I was in middle school, and the boy next door who I had a huge crush on, he totally found my diary and totally read it. And he also read it to other boys, which was even better.
That's
so
horrifying. You have to go. Have you been to therapy for that? Because I feel like I would have needed to go to therapy for that.
I wanted to just go be a nun, actually.
Right? Was that the catalyst for your nun phase? Oh my God. Yeah, that would do it.
Yeah.
That would do it.
So I felt her in this one.
Yeah, that's horrifying. Angel says, I should go. I shouldn't really be around you. And she's like, yeah, she thinks like, oh yeah, I've made a fool of myself and he just wants to get away from me. But it's really, he says, because when he's around her, he just thinks about how much he wants to kiss her. And she's like, oh, what? Oh, okay. He's like, I'm older than you. And she's like, yeah, this can't be. And they're just kind of like, no. As they get closer and closer, and they have their first kiss.
Forbidden love is the best.
They have their first kiss, and it starts getting a little steamy.
Yeah, it does.
And then Angel kind of like turns away, like he's in pain. And when he looks back, he's a vampire.
Yeah.
He's got vamp face.
And she's scared. She did not see that coming.
She's shocked.
Yeah.
And she screams, and he scuttles out the window down the roof. Yeah.
Bye.
And that was the blind was definitely down for most of the scene. I don't remember, like when they walked in, the blind was down, so I don't know when that came up.
He must have just super shot it up to get out.
He was like, whoosh, like, yeah, vamp reflexes, and he was out the window.
Like, do we know anything about the kissing and the vampire face thing? Is that like a thing? Like, do we know why that happened?
I actually thought about this a little bit because we really don't see it, because it felt like he obviously didn't do it on purpose. No. It was like involuntary, like a reflex.
Yeah. He made a noise when he did it too.
Yeah, and it was like he was trying not to, or he was in pain or whatever. I'm trying to rack my brain, so don't come at me if I'm forgetting an example. But we really don't see vampires, I mean, like involuntarily. Sometimes when they get punched or they're hurt, like physically hurt, they will turn. Whether that's on purpose or not, it's not really made clear. But usually it seems like it's a voluntary change.
Yeah, that's what I
So I don't think, again, this is early in this series. So I don't think we really see that again.
Okay.
I'm trying to think if that's specific to Angel, if we've seen him do that again in that way, but I can't recall. So that's something we'll keep in mind as we go on. Okay. Because I also was like, oh yeah, that's weird.
Yeah.
I reminded myself that he was like, had that weird reaction.
Yeah. Like, I know we needed to be introduced to that, and that was a very dramatic way to do it, so I get it, but I just was curious about
Yeah, for sure. Good question. At school the next morning, Buffy is telling the group about Angel, that he's a vampire, and of course, Xander immediately jumps on the bandwagon, like, of, you need to kill him. And I'm like, is Xander has a disproportionate prejudice against vampires for the whole show, and I think it started because of Jesse. Remember Jesse?
Yeah.
And he really, like, more than others, doesn't like vampires, more than the other people in the show.
Yeah.
But now, is it that because he's coming from that experience of his best friend, or is it purely jealousy?
Yeah.
Or is it both?
Both. I'm going to go with both on this one, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. He doesn't doesn't like that Buffy's involved with a vampire now.
No. And he's like, it's not like she's in love with him.
Yeah, and she just doesn't answer. I'm like, that's a bit quick, to be honest.
I thought so too. But...
Yeah, because at the beginning of the episode, he wasn't even an option, and now she's in love with him.
Yeah.
I mean, she hasn't said it, but she's implied it. So when Buffy's talking to Giles about Angel's situation, she says, "Can a vampire ever be good? Couldn't it happen?" And Giles says, "A vampire isn't a person at all. It may have the movements, the memories, even the personality of the person that it took over. But a demon at the core, but still a demon at the core. There is no halfway." So very clear. Again, we've talked about this several times. That's the rule they put into place. You know, they've made it pretty black and white, even concerning Angel at this point.
They have, but also, like, if we think about it, it's just like Angel watches out for her. Angel helped, like, get her safe from the 3, and it's just, I don't know, it doesn't seem black and white.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's why Buffy keeps saying, he's never hurt me. Like, why?
Yep, exactly.
So Giles and Xander are definitely on the team that she needs to slay him. That's, like, her sacred duty. Xander is way into the idea.
But Willow is...
And Willow's...
Like, she's just hopeless romantic.
At least sympathizing with Buffy's situation.
I mean, somebody needs to, so it's good.
Willow is even still kind of like, oh, buddy, you guys are so cute. Like, she's still Team Bangle. And the other two are not, for sure.
Bangle.
Yeah, he asks, like, Buffy kind of implies that she's in love with Angel. So Buffy's pretty conflicted, and that's kind of where we leave that scene. We're at Angel's pad, so I called it. And he comes in, and Darla is there waiting for him. And she kind of just lectures him about how he's living and acting like one of them, like a human, and he's not, and he's kind of suppressing his true nature.
Yeah, even though he's living above ground and fighting vampires.
And he says, maybe I'm not one of you, but maybe I'm not one of them, but I'm not one of you either. And she's like, well, you're drinking blood. And she opens his fridge and there's blood in there. She's like, you can't be that different. Tries to goad him into losing his temper and just says, when you let that animal inside of you loose, like, I want to be there to see it. And he's like, maybe you don't want to be there. And he gets mad. And basically she says, you can't control yourself forever. And that now that Buffy knows, she's probably going to come kill you. Like, are you going to tell her about the curse? This is the first time we hear about the curse.
Yeah.
And so we're like, ooh, what does that mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, this explanation for why Angel's a bit different than other vampires.
Curious.
So he's also conflicted because he doesn't know what to do, and he doesn't know what Buffy's thinking and what she's going to do. Mm-hmm. So everybody's confused and conflicted. In the library, Giles finds information about Angel in the Watcher's diaries. He goes back.
Angelus,
yeah. Angelus. It was his... So that's not his birth name. That wasn't his human name. That was, like, his evil vampire name. So he's had 3 names. I won't even say his actual human name until when it comes up. I'm like so paranoid about spoilers. But when you think of a vampire, start going by Angelus. And this isn't real. This scene is a little bit when in the context of the whole show, because given the context that Angel is a vampire, I think it should have been easier for Giles to put 2 and 2 together of who Angel was.
Okay.
We'll come to find out, like, Angel isn't just some random vampire. Even when before he was ensouled, he was notorious. Yeah. So Watchers, other vampires that have been notorious, like, in history, Watchers know them. They know their history. It's just something they know. Mm-hmm. They don't know every single vampire, but they know, like, the big ones. Like, they're famous.
Do you think he should have figured this out sooner?
Yeah. I think as soon as, like, I don't think he should have had to go as far into the Watcher diaries. Like, he should have been like, oh my God, oh shit, it's Angelus. Like, he definitely should have heard of Angelus before. 100%. I mean,
would you have necessarily thought of Angel? Would you have made that connection? I don't know if I would have.
I think that once, especially when he says Angelus, like, once he, like, knows, like, that's his name, like, he would know who Angelus is as a Watcher. Mm-hmm. And because I have the hindsight of, like, everything we know about Angelus going forward, he definitely would have been like, oh my God, this is Angelus. Like, that's a big deal. It's Angelus. He acts like he's learning all this stuff about Angel/Angelus for the first time. And it's just doesn't really track with the rest of the show. Okay. Because Angelus is a famous, like, it's like Dracula. Him being like, Dracula. Oh, let me, like, you know who Dracula is. But we do learn that Angel is from Ireland. And that's where he was turned. and that he just
240 years ago or something?
Yeah,
like
240 years old, and he went by Angelus once he was turned, and just was killing through Europe for centuries.
Yeah.
And then came to our shores, so North America, 80 years ago. And then after that, there's no evidence of him feeding.
Yeah.
And he's like, just because there's no record of it doesn't mean he's not. You know, Willow, poor Willow. She's like, see, maybe he's not bad. And of course, Andrew is like, well, before 80 years, what was he like? Giles is like, he was an animal, a vicious animal, just like the rest of them.
I like how, like, on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being killing and maiming every night and 1 not.
Yeah.
That was funny.
Yeah, poor Willow. She's trying.
Yeah. Yeah.
In the Master's lair, Darla wants to bring Angel back into the fold. It's kind of, she was laying some of this groundwork when she had her conversation with Angel already, saying she wants to have Angel kill Buffy so that he will kind of come back to being evil, basically.
She's scheming.
Yeah, she's scheming, and for practical and selfish reasons, because her and Angel obviously have a past and a history together. The Master says, well, how are you going to do that if he cares for her? And he's like, well, he'll defend himself, probably, if she tries to kill him. And then he will have to kill her. So that's the plan, that they are going to just drive Buffy to kill Angel, make sure, you know, it's kind of already, like, going on its own. They don't really have to do much. They don't have to put much pressure on the scale. And that Angel will defend himself and end up killing Buffy.
Yeah, and the Master is, like, excited about this. Like, he says that Angel is the most vicious creature that he's ever met, which is, that's saying a lot.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Like, Giles should know who Angelus is. I wish he would, I mean, of course, like, they didn't know where they were going to go with this. They didn't have all this backstory probably invented. But, Giles should have thrown his book up in the air and, like, said a cuss word. Like, oh my God, you can't even be near this guy. Like, this guy is, like, he would have freaked. He would have lost his mind. The Master says he's the most vicious creature he's ever met. Mm-hmm. That's quite a thing for the Master to say. Yeah. Angel is a big deal. In the library, Willow and Buffy are studying, and Buffy's obviously distracted. Willow's like, okay, are we going to study or are we talking about boys? And she's like, okay, I guess we're talking about boys. And she says she has a fantasy that Xander's going to grab her and kiss her right on the lips. And Buffy wants her to speak up. Yeah. But Willow's like, no, can't do that. No. I can't say anything to him about it. So she's just going to admire him from, I'm going to say afar, but next to her, because they're friends. They start talking about Angel. She asked her how the kiss was, and Buffy said it was unbelievable kiss. And that Willow's like, well, you know, you will get old and wrinkly and die, and he'll stay young forever. And what about the children? And then, oops, I didn't mean to say all that. And Buffy's like, no, I need to hear it. I need to hear it because I need to, like, be able to kill him, essentially. And Darla is in the stacks watching, and she hears what she wants to hear. That Buffy needs, even though she feels for Angel, she knows that she has to kill him. Mm-hmm, yeah. And so she's like, okay, don't have to do anything here. This is all going according to plan perfectly. So she kind of sneaks away. And, Buffy is preparing herself and trying to get herself to the place where she can kill Angel. At Buffy's house, her mom Joyce is sitting in the kitchen, and she kind of gets spooked a bit. She hears some sounds around the house, kind of like looking around, and that seems like somebody might be outside. And then there's just a knock on the door, and she opens it, and it's Darla. And she says, oh, I'm a friend of Buffy's. I was supposed to come over for a study date, but Buffy's obviously not home yet. And so Joyce invites her in, which obviously Darla needed to get in there. And Joyce says, oh, come on in. Do you want something to eat? And Darla's like, yeah, sounds good. And when Joyce goes to open the refrigerator, it cuts. And Angel shows up. We see him coming up the front stairs. Obviously, he's trying to knock on the door. He wants to, like, talk to Buffy and explain things and, I guess, see if he can salvage this situation. Yeah. He goes to knock. He changes his mind. And he goes to leave. When he's on the sidewalk, he hears a scream, which is the same scream that Buffy let out. I don't know if you noticed that.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I think it's the same scream.
Good catch, okay.
And so he runs around the side, he breaks down the kitchen door, like the back side door of the house, and sees Darla has bitten Joyce.
I can't believe she did that. That actually surprised me. Horrible, evil vampire.
She's like, oh, look, you want some of this? And he's like, you want some of this blood? And he kind of tosses Joyce to Angel, and he catches her, and he's tempted. He is like...
Yeah, he looks torn. That's
and,
gonna be
like,
hard.
It's not the same as drinking, like, pig's blood or bagged blood, refrigerated blood. It's not the same as like taking it from the source, which he's just been living off of for almost 100 years. He's tempted. His face turns, which I guess that was probably involuntary as well. So I guess we do see it.
Yeah, I think that was involuntary.
Yeah, I guess we do see it a couple times in Angel. She just leaves, right? Am I remembering that correctly?
Yeah, she does. She just walks out.
Yeah, she sets him up perfectly, and he's like kind of struggling. And Buffy walks in. She comes home from the library and walks in and sees her Angel holding her mom and looks in vamp face. Her mom's been bitten. So
that looks so bad.
Yeah, and her face is like genuine. Like her acting with her face looks so good because she looks genuinely.
She's betrayed.
She has so much on there. Yeah, betrayal, shock. Like she can't believe what she's seeing. Buffy throws Angel out the front window and says that you're not welcome here if you come near us again. I'll kill you. And then she runs into the kitchen to call 911. We hear her actually say her address for the first time, 1630 Ravello Drive. That's Buffy's address. And calls for an ambulance. Xander and Willow show up, and they're like, what happened?
They just show up like that.
Yeah, and like Willow, she just left Willow at the library, so why would Willow and Xander be coming over? Good point. I didn't even think about that. That is weird. And like, why wouldn't they go to the front door?
Yeah.
Wouldn't they be like, hey, what the hell happened to the front of your house? Yeah. The window's broken out. Like, the whole front window's busted. Yeah, good point. I didn't think, like, why are they there?
Yeah.
But she says Angel happened. Cut right to the hospital, and Giles is, like, rushing through the hospital corridor into Joyce's room. And Joyce is okay. We see she's fine. She doesn't really remember what happened. The doctor says she fainted and fell on a barbecue fork.
Yeah.
Which they don't own. So it couldn't have been a barbecue fork.
So weird.
And she says that, your friend came over, but I can't really remember anything else. So Buffy's like, okay, enough is enough. I almost got my mother, in her mind, her hesitation almost got her mother killed.
Yeah.
And she's done with it. She's like, yeah, I care for him, but this can't stand, and I'm going to have to kill him. She goes and gets a crossbow. She's like, I'm serious about this. I'm getting the crossbow.
Yeah.
At Angel's apartment, Darla is there again, saying, like, she's coming for you now.
She's tempting you. And
the only way for you to get out of this is to kill her. Mm-hmm. So it's you or her.
That's the only way for him to accept who he is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she thinks by killing Buffy, that'll release him in some way from this. And he will, even if it doesn't, like, actually lift the curse, that he will start fighting it, basically. He'll start fighting the curse and, like, try to, like, reclaim his former self. So hopefully he can reclaim his former self. So let the animal out, basically. Killing her will let the animal back out that's in him. Buffy says she's going to go near the bronze because he said earlier that he lives nearby. So that's probably a good place to start. So she hears glass breaking in the bronze and she goes in there. At the hospital, Joyce, oh yeah, I remember when Joyce is like, who are you? To Giles? Like, who's this old dude?
And it's so great that, like, teacher comes to the hospital. It's so caring. This town's so different than everywhere else.
We had when students, like only a few times that I was in high school, like, something serious happened to a student, and, like, our principal would go to the hospital and stuff. Giles is sitting with Joyce, and she says, talking shop about Buffy, like, school-wise, with Giles saying, like, she's struggling with this, she's struggling with that, she's studying with Willow, she's studying with Darla. And Giles was like,
wait, what?
Yeah, hold on. That's the friend that came over? We thought it was Angel, but now we know that Darla was involved.
Everything clicks into place.
Yeah, Giles runs out of the room and gets Willow and Xander and says, oh, we have a problem. At the bronze, Angel and Buffy have a confrontation. He kind of is like, I'm just an animal, right? And he's kind of, like, being aggressive. They kind of scuffle a bit. Mm-hmm. A little bit. They don't get
like, no, I actually like animals.
Yeah, how dare you? That's an insult to animals. But he at this point, he is resigned to killing her.
Yeah. But I feel like even at this point, they kind of have an opportunity, like, to kill each other, and they
can't.
They're not doing it.
Manage to do it. Yeah. They're both in, like, survival. He's in survival mode, and she's, like, pissed and in revenge mode.
Yeah.
And
he's even trying to egg her on, though, and she's just like.
Yeah.
She shoots at him, but she purposely misses.
Yeah. I think part of him is kind of like, maybe it would be better if I just died.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
He feels
like,
resigned. Maybe?
He's like, maybe she should just kill me. They end up having a conversation where Angel tells her that he fed on a girl that kind of looked like her that was part of the Romani. which you could also, he says gypsies, which is not a term you're supposed to use anymore. Romani is the term that they use for themselves. And she was a favorite of her clan, and that the people in her clan cursed him with a soul. So they returned his soul to him, and now he has a conscience again. And so now he's been, for 80 years, he's been grappling with everything he had done before.
He hasn't fed since.
He says he hasn't fed on a living person since. And so that's why he's helping her. He's like on a redemption arc. He's trying to like deal with all the torment that he's done, and he's trying to live with it. And this is part of it, helping Buffy and like being a good guy.
And this is where we learn that he finally admits that he didn't actually bite her mom.
Yeah, and he's like, so why did you start with my mother? If you haven't bitten anyone for 80 years, why'd you start with her? He's like, I didn't. Yeah. And he's like, I wanted to tell you, but things got out of hand, basically. Yeah. And things are kind of getting resolved, and Darla shows up. And Darla is saying, okay, you guys ended up you're not gonna go for it, like I thought. So I'm gonna have to step in and take care of this. Yeah. But before things go down, Darla does tell Buffy, like, we were together. Mm-hmm. We were in love at one point or whatever. Yeah. She loved him, and he used to love me.
She made him.
Yes.
She's his creator.
She's his sire.
Sire, yes.
Yeah. And so Darla made Angel, so she turned him. Mm-hmm. So it's just new information.
Yeah, that's kind of, it seems huge, because that's like some sort of a bond thing, right?
It is.
Yeah.
Yes, you definitely feel a bond with like people you sire and your sire and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And we'll see that play out a lot. It's a family bond.
Yeah, okay.
Well, a romantic family, like there's a connection when you sire someone. Okay. She made Angel, and that they had a relationship for generations. They were together wreaking havoc. She tells Angel, like, you're sick, you always be sick, and like you're always gonna remember what it's like to watch her die, because like now Darla's gonna do it. And I had forgotten about this, but Darla just has guns. I just hate that.
I thought that
was like the one thing about the episode I thought was stupid.
Yeah, I didn't like that.
Like, yeah, and so she just pulls out 2 handguns and starts shooting at Buffy. She shoots Angel. But obviously, that's not going to do anything to him. It's just, it's not made of wood. So,
but I mean, it got Buffy to like pause.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it took him out of commission, like temporarily. Yeah. Like it did hurt him, but it wasn't going to kill him. And Buffy, is just running because bullets are flying.
Yeah. How is she supposed to fight that?
Yeah. And so she's just trying to regroup. Xander, Willow, and Giles get in. They hear the gunshots and they get in up on the balcony, and are just distracting Darla. They're yelling down to Buffy that Darla's the one that bit her mom, and Giles is using it looks like they have some like theater stuff in there, which is weird. Like the thing is using lightning or flashing lights. I think that when you do that, it's like strobe lighting or like you feel like you see that more in like theaters. That thing that he used rather than a club. I could be wrong, but anyway, it starts flashing and it distracts Darla, and Buffy can get away. And she's getting closer. She's kind of like Buffy doesn't have anything at her disposal. She's kind of hiding. And then we see Angel come up behind Darla and stake her.
And he kills his own master.
He stabs her. From the noises that Darla makes, she could be stabbing her with something else as well. But I was like, what's he stabbing her with? I don't know. I don't know if this is a good thing or a bad thing from her noises. So Darla falls on the ground, is dusted, and she's like, Angel, how could you?
Betrayal of the uttermost kind.
Yeah.
He just leaves.
He looks at Buffy and he's like, all right, I'm out of here.
Peace out. Yeah.
I'm too old for this crap. And Buffy just lets him go, stares at him, because what are you going to say? In the lair, the master is tearing the place up. He's mad because another person.
This is his favorite.
Yeah, his favorite.
400 years.
Darla was one of his top minions, and like she said, Darla said, she's just going to pick us off one by one if we don't do something, and is what's happening. They're just getting picked off. So we're at the Bronze, and it's the post-fumigation party, and I love when he says, what does that mean? And Xander says, hardier cockroaches. I love that. I gotta admit, Xander has some good lines in this. It's they're just more robust cockroaches until next year. They're radioactive now.
Oh my God.
And Willow says, you've heard from Angel? And she's like, no, and I don't think I will. Yeah, and
but
she's
she still feels him watching.
She's like, I feel him watching. And Willow's like, that's probably because he's over there watching you. And so she sees him on the other side of the club. Yeah. And she heads over to talk to him. And Xander is, of course, very insecure and jealous about the situation. And he's like, I'm not going to look. I'm not even going to look at him.
Xander.
Buffy comes over to Angel and he asks how her mom and her are doing. She said, we're okay. And he says, we can't do this. Like, I have to just walk away from this. She's like, no, I understand. They're both like, okay, one of us needs to go. It's kind of similar to like their little other scene where they're both like, this can't happen. This isn't really going to work. And closer, closer, closer. And then they kiss again.
Yeah. Yeah, they do.
Yeah, they kiss again. And when and when Xander says, what's happening? And she's like, nothing. She's like, well, as long as they're not kissing. And Willow's face is like, And she's watching them kiss behind his shoulder, over his shoulder. When Buffy pulls away, she says, are you okay? And he's like, yeah, she says, painful, I know. And we think at first they're talking about like their emotions. Yeah. But then when she pulls back and she says like, bye, and she walks away, we see that the cross that Angel, she was wearing the cross that Angel gave her, and it has burnt.
Printed on him.
Yeah, it's burnt into his chest because it was touching him. And we will see some symmetry to this scene in season 7.
Okay.
Yeah. We will see something that's a little relatable.
I'm curious.
To this, yeah. She walks away, and Angel's there with his new birthmark, and that's the end of the episode. That's Angel. So this is your favorite episode, huh?
This is my favorite episode so far.
It was very good.
It was good. Yeah, emotions ran high. We get to know more about him, because like he was just kind of this mysterious stranger before. Now we know he's a vampire, and just like, I know she walked away, but like I'm wondering how this is. I don't think he's gonna go away, so I'm wondering how this.
Yeah, that's it. We never see this character again.
Exactly. That's obviously not gonna happen. So.
Yeah, never to be seen or heard from again.
I'm curious to see how this continues. This relationship. Yeah. This forbidden no.
Yeah, the forbidden fruit that is Buffy Summers. Okay, so my favorite line, I kind of said already. Hunk can mean a lot of things. Bad things. Poor thing. She's so desperate to be like, oh my God, like I have to dispel everything I wrote in here because I look like an idiot. And then that whole scene, the whole second bedroom scene with the diary thing, and then like the kiss and the reveal of the vampire, that was my favorite scene because like so much happened in that. It was funny. It was like you got the big twist, the big reveal. So that was my favorite scene.
My favorite line was in the library when she's training with Giles and says, goodbye stakes, hello flying fatality.
Yeah, that was a good
Quite
one.
like that.
Yeah, it was a great one.
And then I think my favorite scene was probably when Angel killed Darla, just because I'm not a fan and she was...
Got that X out of his life forever.
That's right. Bye.
Yeah. Oh, and I hated when she was like on her back on the pool table as like Buffy pushed it, and she's like pew 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 as like the pool table's going. I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah, I just really didn't like her. I thought she was really annoying. Yeah. And like, and when she bit Buffy's mom, I was like, whoa, that's
too far, Darla. Too far now.
Yeah.
Okay, so I gave this episode 5 out of 5 steaks because it is a pivotal episode. Like, it changes everything with finding out who Angel is. Yeah. And we get more Angel. We get, like, anything about, like, before we barely knew anything about him besides his name.
His whole backstory.
Yeah, it's moving the season plot along. Like, we're starting to pick up speed now. And Angel's a big part of the show. So him getting introduced in a deeper way is going to make the show better. And it was a good plot. I liked the 3. I liked everything about it, except for the Darla gun thing. I didn't like that. That was the only con for this episode for me.
Okay, so same. 5 steaks. It was a really good episode. Yeah, like I was just sitting on the edge of my seat the whole time. Like it was hard to take notes. I like had to write so fast, and I'm just like, yeah, it was really good. It kept my attention the whole time, and I just every time because I'm watching on Hulu and I have the commercial break one. Mm-hmm. So every time there's a commercial break, I'm like, ah. So yeah.
Yeah, it's a good one. It's definitely one of the better ones in the first season for sure.
And just like I found it really creative that they did the whole like his backstory. Like I've watched a lot of vampire stuff, and they've definitely done the whole good vampire thing and other things, but just like with his like his soul getting restored, basically. I thought that was interesting because I've definitely seen other vampire stuff. where they talk about souls and like there's like a lot of up in the air stuff about like if they have them or not. Or so I thought that was kind of interesting that they touched on that. So I thought that was a nice touch.
Yeah, it's a good backstory. It's compelling. Your question for next week. In the episode's called I, Robot, You, Jane. And a demon is released from an object. What is the object?
Okay, the episode's called I, Robot, You, Jane. And something is released from an object. I mean, it would be... Okay, we have some things we can... I mean, obviously we could say Janie Lamp because that would be the first thought, but maybe that's a little too on the nose. We have a previous episode where someone was stuck in a trophy, so maybe we could say that got out of the trophy.
It's a demon.
Okay, so then no, probably not. A demon, a book.
Okay. That's a good guess.
Okay.
All right. We'll see if you're right next week.
Okay.
All right. So that wraps up Angel, Season 1, Episode 7. Again, you can find us on all major podcast apps and YouTube and Instagram at One Girl in All the World Pod. You can also email us at onegirlpod@gmail.com. So thanks for joining us, and we'll be back next week with I, Robot, You, Jane. Slay you real soon.